Before we start, the Youth Engagement Initiative has another draw, and with your generosity, we raised $4,600. So thank you. So I'll draw the ticket, and we'll find out if someone's in the room here that won. It's not mine, thank goodness. But they would pick one with a tough name to do. Looks like Eirik Kuzmarek. And I know I'm probably not even close on that name. Okay. Well, if I had 1,500 more prizes, we'd do real well, wouldn't we? At this time, I'd also like to recognize Deputy Minister Laurie LeBlanc. After the conference and perhaps a few days of rest, which hopefully she'll get, she'll be moving from the Ministry of Municipal Affairs and Housing to the Ministry of Training, Colleges and Universities, and we want to know that we will miss her, and we thank her for 6 years as our deputy, and we wish you all the best, and we know that we'll see you next August at the conference in 2020. So, thank you. Minister Clark. He is the member for Leeds, Grenville, Thousand Islands, Rideau, and Rideau Lake. By now, you know, at one point, he was the youngest head of council in Ontario. He's also walked in the shoes as AMO president, and along the way, he was a CAO. Is he qualified to be the Ministry of Municipal Affairs and Housing? Absolutely in spades. He gets the sector. He gets that good government relations is about being open, being a good listener, able to accept differences with respect, and be accessible. And he is that and more. We are very fortunate to have his knowledge, skills, and drive, so please welcome the Honourable Steve Clark.
Well, thanks very much, Jamie. I just want to thank you for all the work that you've done as AMO president. You're a great friend, and you're, again, just such a tireless advocate both for the town of Parry Sound and for the Association of Municipalities of Ontario. So thank you for everything that you do, Jamie. So wow, great crowd. I get good energy, good vibes. I want to thank you all for being here. We've had yet another record at AMO with almost 900 meeting requests this year. This is a fantastic record breaker for our government. And I want to take a few moments. I see her right in front of me. I want to take a few moments just to mention my friend Pat Vanini, who's retiring. This is her last AMO conference. Pat and I have known each other for many years, and I have to say that since I became minister, Pat, Lynn Dolan, Jamie McGarvey, just all of the AMO family have just been so wonderful to me. I want to thank you so much. And I want to ask you to give Pat a round of applause for all the work that she's done. So, folks, I also want to acknowledge my parliamentary assistants. For Municipal Affairs, Jim McDonnell, and I'm pleased to introduce to you Parm Gill, who is my new parliamentary assistant for housing. So, Jim and Parm, please stand up and take a bow. It's also great to see so many of my cabinet colleagues sitting here. Obviously, some familiar faces from last August's event. There are also some new faces, too, and I look forward to calling them on the stage momentarily. We are all here to listen to your ideas and concerns, to learn from you, and to answer your question. Nous sommes ici pour écouter vos suggestions et vos préoccupations, pour apprendre de vous et pour répondre à vos questions. Last August, I told you that I was so very proud to be Ontario's Minister of Municipal Affairs and Housing. It was actually, I said, it was my dream job, and I have to tell you, after a year, it certainly still is. And I want to thank you for this fine opportunity to represent you around the cabinet table. As a former mayor and a former CAO, I understand the challenges and the opportunities that you face. And as a former AMO president, I know how important the association is to not only its members, but to government. So over the last year, of course, I've learned a lot about AMO, Ontario's 444 municipalities, and how we can continue to talk, to listen, and to work together. Things have been moving a little fast, but maintaining a strong relationship with AMO and our municipal partners continues to be a top priority of our government. So last year on this stage, I was with Lynn Dolan, and we signed a new memorandum of understanding with AMO. It was certainly a proud moment for me as minister. But more important than any piece of paper is that under the AMO-MOU agreement, the province has had 11 AMO-MOU meetings since then. I want you to know that our government takes these meetings very seriously. 17 cabinet ministers and 6 parliamentary assistants have come to the AMO-MOU table, some of them more than once. And the government has brought forward 53 agenda items for consultation to that table. These discussions are confidential, but it's no secret that some of them have been pretty frank. And I'd like to say that I think that's a good thing. So please join me in thanking how well your AMO president and your AMO executive have represented this association at that table. They've done a tremendous job. In addition to the AMO-MOU table, we're consulting with AMO and its members on a whole host of topics. For example, my ministry recently launched 140 days of consultation planned for this calendar year on changes to the Planning Act related to community benefits charges. We want the funds that municipalities recover from community benefits charges to be similar to what they've collected from development charges for discounted services, density bonusing, and parkland dedication. To be clear, our goal is to maintain municipal revenues. We've launched a technical working group on community benefits charges that's actually already met twice, and we've posted information on the Environmental Registry of Ontario, so I would encourage everyone to give us your feedback through our consultation. I'm committed to ensuring growth pays for growth. And I understand how important it is for municipalities to have resources they need to support complete communities, such as parks, daycares, and more. Et je comprends l'importance pour les municipalités d'avoir les ressources dont elles ont besoin pour favoriser des collectivités complètes, comme les parcs et les garderies. The Premier was here yesterday. I know that we had a great crowd for him. And as you know, his remarks and discussion at the recent AMO-MOU table is sending a strong signal that our government is listening and want to work in collaboration with our municipal partners. We have a plan to modernize programs to make them more sustainable. We heard your concerns about changes to the cost-sharing arrangements, and as the Premier announced, we will be providing you with transitional funding for public health and for childcare for your budgetary purposes for 2020. And as Minister Elliott said yesterday, future changes will build in protections for municipal budgets, all municipal budgets. On January 1st, 2020, we'll transition municipalities to a 70-30 cost-sharing funding model, 70% for the province, 30% for municipalities. And in the first year, we're going to ensure that no public health unit experiences an increase above 10% of current public health costs. That's the protection we've built in to ease the transition. Some municipalities already contribute 30% or more. These municipalities will not be impacted. We'll also, as the Premier announced, be maintaining in-year cost sharing for land ambulances. In fact, Ontario will not be reducing funding to land ambulance services. Municipalities will receive an average of 4%, nearly 4% in funding for this calendar year in 2019, and also receive an increase in 2020. I'd also like to thank my colleague, the Honourable Stephen Lecce, for working tirelessly and advocating on your behalf since becoming Ontario's Minister of Education. Childcare funding will now be phased in over a 3-year period starting in January 2020. With the changes our partners have advised us will require the most lead time coming into effect last. We will continue to encourage municipalities to partner with us to support children and families in our communities, but we'll also adjust the approach to the cost-sharing expansion plan operating funding by committing to provide 80% of the funding regardless of the municipal contribution. All of this will give you more time to plan and find savings and efficiencies before the adjustments come into effect. Because of this approach, the government will be reinvesting $85.5 million back into childcare for 2020 and an additional $36.5 million in 2021. Now, I know some of you were here yesterday to hear Minister Elliott's plenary. Our government will also launch a renewed consultation with municipalities and our partners in public health and emergency services this fall. This will be in addition to the work that's being done at already established technical tables. Through this consultation process, we will ensure that enough time is provided for thoughtful dialogue and implementation planning. This next phase of engagement will be supported by an expert advisor. Over the next few weeks, the Ministry of Health will work with that advisor with input from AMO to begin the consultation process that will continue through the fall. Now, again, it's no secret that our government moved quickly when we came into office, but we've listened and we are committed to working in collaboration with municipalities as we modernize services. Municipalities are critical partners to our government, and we will work with you to ensure that the transformation of programs and services is informed by your advice and daily realities. Les municipalités sont des partenaires cruciaux pour notre gouvernement et nous collaborons avec vous afin que la transformation des programmes et des services soit guidée par vos conseils et vos réalités quotidiennes. Now, last year when I was here on the stage, I mentioned 5 priorities to you, and I'd like to take just a few moments to highlight some of the progress we've made by working together. So let's start with cutting red tape. This is about getting rid of the duplication and unnecessary steps that stand in the way of building housing, creating jobs, and helping you serve your residents in a cost-effective way. The Premier, he provided some great examples yesterday, so I'm not going to repeat them. But I will add that my ministry is leading a cross-government review of the development approval process. We've been working with municipal planners, with building officials, with developers, housing providers to identify every step in the development process. And guess what? It's filled with duplication and delays. We're going to tackle this, and with all the help of our partners, including many of you that are in this room. Last year, I committed to make a serious dent in the reporting burden that municipalities face. And as the Premier said yesterday, we've already identified 94 reports to be eliminated, and consolidated or simplified 27 others. And that is just the start. When it comes to arbitration reform, we took some important steps last fall. After years of inaction, we amended the interest arbitration process under the Fire Protection and Prevention Act. We listened when you told us the process in the fire sector led to delays and inefficiencies. My colleague, the Honourable Monty McNaughton, and I are interested in hearing more about how we can further help municipalities with these challenges. So we've asked our parliamentary assistants to lead an engagement with you this fall. This will give municipalities an opportunity to provide input on how we can support you in controlling costs. Here are a few more of the actions that our government has done to support you. Earlier this spring, I announced that we are funding a new $1 million disaster assistance pilot project, which will provide eligible municipalities with up to 15% above the estimated cost of rebuilding damaged infrastructure to make it more resilient to extreme weather. I believe by building back better, municipalities will be able to save money over the long term. And last week, I joined the Honourable Jeff Urick to announce that we're transitioning the cost of the Blue Box program away from municipal taxpayers to the producers of products and packaging that are fully responsible. So municipalities can put those funds for good use, and that's more than $125 million. Our government listened when you told us about the importance of double-hat professional firefighters, and we responded. We listened when it comes to wastewater capital cost. They'll remain 100% recoverable through development charges. And I'm pleased to share with you that we're not making any changes to the Ontario Works program delivery funding levels in 2020. They're going to be held at 2018 levels, but we are going to continue with the transformation of employment services. Also for 2020, as the Premier announced, we will be maintaining the current structure of the Ontario Municipal Partnership Fund for an additional year. We're also going to announce allocations well in advance of the municipal budget year. Et nous allons annoncer les affections bien avant l'exercice budgétaire municipal. Great news. And last week we provided municipalities with the remaining $6.74 million to help with cannabis implementation costs. At last year's conference, I also announced that we will be reviewing the regional government system. It's been in place for almost 50 years, and we want local input on how we can improve governance, decision-making, and service delivery. I've been unequivocal from day one and stated throughout the review that we have no preconceived outcomes. Ken Sealing and Michael Fenn are finalizing their recommendations. There was over 8,500 submissions, which is unbelievable, and over 100 in-person presentations as well. Again, an overwhelming response for our government. I look forward to receiving their report, and I'll have more to say in the fall. But for now, I want to thank each and every one of you in this room and in your member municipalities for participating in that review. An outstanding response of 8,500 responses. In recent weeks, I've also had a chance as Minister to get out and announce some of the funding we're providing for supportive and affordable housing. I'm really proud that we're investing $1 billion in 2019-2020 to repair and grow our community housing system. Thank you. In addition to the $1 billion, we took some early steps this year to set up the system for success, and we're simplifying the way that rent is calculated. From homelessness to supportive housing, we need a sustainable community housing system that's ready to help those most in need. And I know there's a lot of work that we have to do together moving forward. One of the highlights in the last year for me as Minister was the More Homes, More Choice Act. Our plan means a better mix of housing, more housing near transit, and more rental housing. And at the end of the day, our plan is about building the right type of homes in the right places at a price that people can afford. Not just in Toronto, not just here in Ottawa, but in every community right across this province. The last year's been extremely busy, and I've only touched on just a very few highlights in my speech today. We've done a lot together. We've had many conversations. We've debated, we've agreed, and we've agreed to disagree. And our government tackles the big challenges ahead. The lines of communication will stay open. They have to stay open. And we'll keep talking and, most importantly, listening. It's a privilege to serve as your Minister of Municipal Affairs and Housing. I understand the vital role that municipalities play in the lives of people right across this province. I know there is no more important partner for our government than the people in this room, our municipal partners who are at the front lines in communities across Ontario. Je sais qu'il n'y a pas de partenaire plus important pour notre gouvernement que les gens dans cette pièce, nos partenaires municipaux qui sont en première ligne dans la collectivité de l'Ontario. I'm committed to working with you and bringing your issues and concerns to the Cabinet table. Now, folks, we're ready to move into the Ministers' Forum. After that, I hope you will join us in the foyer just outside this room for the Ontario reception. Thank you. Merci beaucoup. Thank you, everyone. Now I'm going to ask my Cabinet colleagues to join me on stage.